Attention bowlers, we are going to get started. Welcome to Cape Ann Lanes in Gloucester, Massachusetts, for another exciting Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour match. I'm Steve Kelly on the call. This is Sarah Wright against Andy Klempa. For the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour and 3-ball spare conglomerate, the match format is 5 strings with 14 points on offer. 2 points per string, 4 for total pinfall, with ties splitting down the center. It is good as always to have you along with us. This match was live streamed on Saturday, January 25th, and is available for rewatching anytime upon the conclusion of this match. Sarah Wright opens to the right of the headpin with a 4-horseman left side and the 10-pin. And she's on the headpin for the spare shot. Runs down the 4-horseman very lightly, with the 10-pin left to go for 10 box. For those interested, I'd like to highlight a few things. First, this broadcast should have subtitles and live captioning enabled, so if you enjoy this feature, please feel free to enable it in the controls below. And the transcript feature should also be available if you're watching this on YouTube. Next, throughout the match, I'll describe the play-by-play action and provide up-to-the-minute scoring to the best of my ability. Keep an eye on the unofficial scoreboard on your screen. It's here for the benefit of the broadcast while the bowlers maintain their official book records separately. Scores may be subject to review or correction. I may occasionally pause to verify scores if things seem out of sync. I appreciate your patience when that happens. That's Sarah Wright with a pile of 5 on the left, a 4-horseman left side, and a sleeper. That's the 1, the 2, the 4, the 7, and the 8 on the deck. It wasn't a headpin shot, but it was another 5 drop for Sarah Wright. 1, 2, 4, 7, 8. And Sarah Wright fires. She's on the headpin. It takes only the headpin, nudges it off to the left. We're at Cape Ann Lanes today at 51 Gloucester Avenue in Gloucester, Massachusetts, off of Route 128, off of the Grant Traffic Circle. There are 16 lanes, at Cape Ann Lanes. I had a note that there was 20, and I just looked up and I was like, nope, there's actually 16. There's also the Laneside Pub and Brewery, established in 2020 at Cape Ann Lanes, and that's a 9-box for Sarah Wright. 19 after 2. Laneside Pub and Brewery was built in place of a few lanes that used to be used for the Friday Night Pro League, according to Chuck DeRogers, my team captain for Worlds this past fall. Has a nice arcade with a selection of vintage and uncommon machines, such as Super Mario Bros. 3 Pinball. That's Sarah Wright off to the left with a left side Candlepin corner and a 3-drop. He's at 19 after 2. Sarah Wright is our away bowler from Legal Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. She has a season record of 71 and 83 with 11 matches played. Away, she's 34 and 50 with 6 matches played. At home, she's 37 and 33 with 5 matches played. So her home record's a little bit better than her away record. It's a 1.12 win-loss ratio compared to her away record of 0.68. She'll take the 3 and leave the 1 and the 9 on the 3rd box for an 8. 27 after 3 for Sarah Wright. Still looking to find the headpin on the first ball. So your Sarah Wright stats. She's bowled 11 matches. She has a perfect box percentage of 46. She's currently 3rd place in C North Division 3 and the 11th seed in C North overall. That's Sarah Wright. Sarah Wright has a season average of 102.65, an away average of 102.3, a home average of 103.0, and she's off to the right of the headpin. In the corner once again. Sarah Wright's high single this season is 131, and her high series is 559. She has 10 strikes, 103 spares, and 142 tens for the season. Wright fires on the 1-2 pocket, finds the headpin there, but leaves the 5-pin. No mark for Sarah Wright. She'll be shooting for a 10-box on the 5-pin. Gloucester, Massachusetts, Cape Ann Lanes, and that will be a 9-box for Sarah Wright. So again, we're at Cape Ann Lanes in Gloucester, Massachusetts today, established in 1959, again off Route 128. There's actually 16 lanes, so I had an error in my slide there. My apologies on that. My research failed me. At the Laneside Pub and Brewery, there's vintage arcade machines, pinball, a bunch of fun stuff, and it's really packed here at Cape Ann Lanes. A lot of birthday parties. Apparently they're scheduled all day for birthday parties. I know normally some of you may have grown accustomed to a front-facing camera down in the lanes, but for safety's sake and for the sake of the patrons here at Gloucester, Massachusetts, decided to forego the front-facing camera today. That's a split for Sarah Wright. That's a 5-drop. 7, 9, 10, 5, 6. Sarah Wright has 5,645 seasonal total pins. She has the number 2 most 10 boxes in all of the ACST at 142. She has the number 1 ACST North total 10 boxes at 142. Sarah Wright thinking long and hard about how to shoot this shot. So it's the 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. There's a piece of wood that's kind of in front of the 5 and the 6. Shooting that wood will probably be the way to take it. I would maybe hit a little high on it. Hopefully not full enough, though. But Sarah picks the low spot of the wood, slides to the left, leaves the 6, 9, and 10. Sarah Wright has the 22nd high Class C North average at 102.65, the number 9th high Class perfect box percentage of C North at 0.46 at 46%. That's an 8 box for Sarah Wright, and that is the half for one of our bowlers so far. And Sarah Wright's currently at 44 after 5, with no marks, 1 headpin shot, and 1 split. So we're going to say hello now to Andy Klempa here at his home house here at Cape Ann Lanes here in Gloucester, Massachusetts. Here comes Andy Klempa. He's off to the right of the headpin. That's not a headpin shot. That's a right side candlepin corner. We've seen a lot of those today, and we're only 5.3 boxes in. Andy Klempa fires down the center, leaves the 2, the 3, and the 4 on the deck. Andy Klempa has a season record of 41 and 99 with 10 matches played, a .41 win-loss ratio. At home, he's 24 and 46 with 5 matches played, .52. And away, he's 17 and 53, and that'll be an 8-box opener for Andy Klempa. Again, this is the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, a Class C North match today. Sarah Wright at Andy Klempa. I'm Steve Kelly on the call for the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour and 3-ball spare conglomerate. Streaming live to the Facebook page on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, and Andy Klempa, not on the headpin, drops 8, leaves the Lawrence Welk Special, a 1 and a 2. Andy Klempa's season average is 97.8, 95.9 home average, 99.7 away average. Andy Klempa takes the 2 and leaves the 1. His high single this season is 132. His high series this season is 557. He has 18 strikes, 69 tens, and 18 strikes, 69 spares, and 101 tens. Perfect box percentage of 37%. Andy Klempa, 4,889 seasonal total pins. As we have someone coming down, we have a exciting child just taking some bowling balls and just playing with them. Anyways, this is Andy Klempa. He's currently 15th in C North overall, number 4th in C North Division 4. Season record of 41 and 99 with 10 matches played. Season average 97.8, high 1 of 132, high 5 of 557. That's a 9-box for Andy Klempa. That's 17 after 2 for Mr. Klempa. We've had one headpin shot and 1 split thus far here. Still plenty of time to go, but currently all of those are in Sarah Wright's favor. Andy Klempa fires next. It's off to the right, bit of a misfire, hard shot. It's another Candlepin Corner-esque shot. Candlepin Corner, check them out on YouTube and Facebook, by the way. Fine crew over there. Chris Waterman, Jordan Britton. Run by some awesome folks. Andy Klempa has the 31st high Class C North average at 97.8. He takes a few more out from the left side this time. So, folks, if you're new to the world of Candlepin bowling, I want to welcome you to the fun sport from New England and Eastern Canada, in which it's 3 balls per frame. You get a 3rd ball for a 10 box, which is something unique to Candlepin and not 10 pin. We refer to frames as boxes in the Candlepin lingo. Candlepin bowling allows the bowler 3 balls per frame as opposed to 2. Compared to 10-pin bowling, Candlepin allows for up to 3 balls thrown in a frame, like I said before, as opposed to the maximum of 2 in 10-pin. Fallen pins are not removed from play in Candlepin compared to 10-pin. They're fair game. Whether they offer positive or negative effects, that is all part of the game. And that's a 7-drop and a split, the 4-6-3 for Andy Klempa that he's shooting at. Klempa's a little bit off the 3. Leaves the 4-6-3. For a 10-box, 7-box guarantee for Andy Klempa. He'll take the 3 and leave the 4 and the 6. That's 8 for Andy Klempa. And that is 33 after 4. Sorry, I was just adjusting a microphone there. I muted it briefly so you didn't hear the clanging. That's a headpin shot and a strike for Andy Klempa. Wait, what a way to sit right there. So that's first blood for marks for Andy Klempa, 43, and a bonus after 5 with that strike. Sarah Wright at 44 after 5, no marks. That's the story of the first half of the first game here on the tour, on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. Plenty of bowling to go, 4.5 games left here. We're going to say hello to Sarah Wright. This time Sarah Wright will be on the left. Sarah Wright's on the left. I'll move Andy Klempa over to the right just so you can see his score all the while. Sarah Wright drops 5. 7-10, 4-5-2 on the headpin. That's a split. And Sarah Wright fires for the spare. And the 5-pin stays. Nothing doing there. It was a good attempt and a good offer. Sarah Wright for the 10 box. She takes the 5, and that will be 10 for Sarah Wright. 54 after 6. In Sarah Wright's past 5 matches, she's taken 33 points, averaging 6.6 per match. She's totaled 2,578 pins in total pinfall in her past 5 matches. That's an average of 515.6 to give you an idea of how Sarah Wright has been doing in her past 5 matches performance. And over 500, that's a great total to have on average. It's a split for Sarah Wright, 6-drop, 7-10, 2-4. Sarah on the 2-4-7-10. She's just a little bit off. She was actually right on the former 1-3 pocket on that second ball. She'll be shooting for a 10 box. 2-4-7-10 once again. She's on the 2. She's on the 4. The 7 falls. And by my math, that's a 9 box. That's 63 and 7 for Sarah Wright. That is confirmed. And 43 after 5 for Andy Klempa is also confirmed. It's automatic computerized scoring at Cape Ann Lanes in Gloucester, Massachusetts. Cubica AMF. And Sarah Wright on lane 5. Opening pitch, she fires. It looks good. It's down the center, a little bit too down the center, and that's a... Well, it was almost going to be a spread eagle, but it's a taloned spread eagle minus the 10. It's the 2, the 3, the 4, the 6, the 7, and the 8 on the deck. For the spare. And she's on the 2 and connects with a few others, but doesn't leave much else. That's the 4-6-3-8. For a 10 box and a 6 box guarantee for Sarah Wright. Sarah Wright, 11th seed in Class C North. She's in Division 3. And 2 almost takes 2, but it threads the needle, so that means it's going to be an 8 box for Sarah Wright. 71 in 8 is what it should be. Andy Klempa going down to do a score correct, so I'll let you know in just a second what it should be. I believe it should be 71, but we'll see. 71 is confirmed. Sarah Wright, 9th frame. Opening ball in the 1-2 pocket. Dropping 6. A wiggly 6. There's going to be a split no matter what it is. It's the 8-9-10-5. And a very eager 5. Off its spot and wiggling on the deck of lane 5. Eight, 9, 10, 5 for Sarah Wright. Season average 102.65. She'll nudge the wood down and take the 10 pin, but nothing else. Sarah Wright has one match clocked at or over 550 this season. Her longest streak of strings at or over 100 is 7. That's a good streak to have. Just string enough else together and then good things will come to you. That's an 8 box for Sarah Wright in the 9th for 79 in 9. Sarah Wright is 5 for 9 on the head pin with 5 splits right now. Andy Klempa 2 for 5 on the head pin with 1 split right now. Sarah Wright has 3 of 11 matches with double-digit wins this season. That's a split for Sarah Wright, 5 drop. Pin action is being a little bit sleepy down there at the moment. It's the 4, the 6, the 3, the 7, and the 10 for Sarah Wright. She has to make 3, take 2. She's on the 3, and she's left with a banana split. That's the 4, 6, 7, 10. With the wood across the 4 and the 7. Sarah Wright's getting ready to fire for a 10 box. And she won't take any of them. And that's going to be the end of the first game. Sarah Wright with 6 for 10 on the head pin. But she also had 6 splits. 100% 100% splits rate on the head pin shots for Sarah, but she's markless and has 85 after the first game. And that is confirmed, just making sure. Andy Klempa was doing a score correct just to keep that in sync. So we're going to say hello to Andy Klempa once again, who shall be on the left side this time. Here's our home bowler, and he's working on a strike. And a head pin for the double. Oh, it was a great bid and a great offer for Andy Klempa. That's the 5 and the 7, and the mix looked good too. Let's see if he can get a spare on this. He throws a hard ball. It could go. He beans the 5, and look at that. We'll get a replay for that one. That's a spare on strike for Andy Klempa. See if we can get a replay of that. It was the speed and the force of that ball. Look at this. Watch this go. Kabam, and the skate of the piece of wood, the kinetic energy of that wood, sent it over to the 7. So speed seems to be the name of the game. That's a 6 fill for Andy Klempa and a banana split. That is the banana split, a 4, 7, 6, 10 leave, a.k.a. the spread eagle minus the 2 and the 3. There is some wood down there. It's like Sarah Wright's shot, but with a little more sifted wood to help out. 4, 6, 7, 10. Andy Klempa thinking long and hard about this. While he's thinking long and hard about this, let's look at Andy Klempa's stats real quick. He's 15th place compared to Sarah Wright's 11th. So that's currently where things are. Here he goes. Now he's going to fire. And he nearly gets the banana split. He leaves the 7 on the deck. Just the 7 on the deck for Andy Klempa. Misses the mark. In Andy Klempa's past 5 matches, he's taken 24 points. He's only been averaging 4.8 points per match, so he's got some work to do on that. And Andy Klempa, that's where the mark streak and the perfect box streak is going to end right now. He's at 76 after 7. And excuse me, it's a 9 box, not a 7 box. What am I saying? I was talking about the 7 pin. 78 after 7, correction. And he's on the head pin, drops 8, 6, 10. Wood rolling away. In the rulebook, we got to wait till wood settles, so awkward pauses are part of the game. And Andy Klempa on the 6'10", bouncy ball, off target, down the center. Collides with the wood, leaves the 6 and the 10. Off target, no mark. Andy Klempa in his past 5 matches, he's totaled 25-31 pins, a total pinfall, averaging 506.2 per match. That's a 9-box for Andy Klempa, 87-8. So he will take the first game. He's already over the hump of Sarah Wright's 85. Andy Klempa this season has 1 match out of 10 at or over 550 in grand total pinfall. His longest streak of matches at or over 100 has been 5, compared to Sarah Wright's 7. And will that be a strike? It's almost a strike for Andy Klempa. It's a 9 drop. Leaves the 8 single pin spare opportunity for Andy Klempa. Andy Klempa on average goes 21.3 for 50 on the head pin, with 8.1 splits per match on average. He averages 4.8 points per home match. In his past 5 matches, he had 12 strikes, averaging 2.4 per match. In the past 5 matches, he has 34 spares, averaging 6.8 per match, and that is what we might call, in the scene, a Paul Grant special, where he missed the second and got the third. That's a $1 donation to Candlepins per cancer per occurrence. Paul Grant is always watching. In the past 5 matches, Andy Klempa has had 55 tens, averaging 11 per match. Klempa on the head pin, dropping 7, dropping 8. And that will be a split with that extra falling pin. That's the 2 and the 7 on the deck for Andy Klempa. 2 and the 7 for Andy Klempa. And he'll beam them down for a spare. And that puts him at 107 as an opening game. Let's see if we got the replay for this. Look at this on the 2 and the 7 for Andy Klempa. And his real straight throwing ball with a lot of power, really beneficial to shots like that. So final ball of the first game. It's a bonus ball for Andy Klempa. He's on the head pin, and he drops 9. That was great for Andy Klempa, so we're going to assess the totals. So Andy Klempa will take the first game. He has a 116, 3-mark 116 to Sarah Wright's 85. That's the first game. Sarah Wright's 0 points. Andy Klempa 2. And here was that fill for Andy Klempa. In case you missed it, it was nearly a strike if you can see that. Almost everything goes. All right, so we're going to move on to the next game here. Bear with me while we just get everything set up. It's going to be Sarah Wright on the right, and Andy Klempa will follow shortly after. Sarah Wright. On lane 6. It's to the right of the head pin, drops 5. Ball tails off a little bit. That's the 1, the 2, the 5, the 8, and the 9 for Sarah Wright. It's the pile of pins in the center, the bouquet. Guys. Quick pause for a couple things happening. Sarah Wright on the spare. She leaves the 5 and the 9 on the deck. No mark. For a 10-box, 8-box minimum, it will be a 10 for Sarah Wright. A hard-fought 10-box for Sarah Wright. So folks, if you're new to my streams and want to know how to read the scoreboard, here's the general layout and the general map key and compass. Away bowler in blue, home bowler in red. Head pins are the green light on the left side of the score towers. Red on the right side are splits, the symbols for double strike, strike spare 10. And the bottom in italics when we're in full screen view for the scores represent the totals for games 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and the total. 7 drop for Sarah Wright. 2, 4, 7. And for the spare shot, Sarah Wright's just a little bit off. Leaves the 2 and only the 2 on the deck. Sarah Wright shooting at the 2 for a 10 box. And it will be a 9 for Sarah Wright, 19 after 2. So again, in case you need to know, so a double strike is the fancy 4 triangle symbol, a strike is a square, a spare is a triangle, and a 10 is the X. I know X's are often represented as strikes, depending on which scoreboard or which house or 10-pin or candlepin. On my scoreboard, the X will mean 10, like the Roman numeral 10. And Sarah Wright's getting ready to fire. Sarah Wright left the head pin, drops 6, 1, 3, 8, 9 on the deck. 1, 3, 8, 9. The 1, 3 pocket is the operative pocket for Sarah Wright. And she'll take the 8 and leave the 1, 3, 9. Piece of wood that she caps just off target to the right of the 3 took the 8. And Wright will take 2 more, leaving in the head pin for a 9 box for Sarah Wright. 28 after 3 for Sarah Wright. And if you want to know about the mini-map in the upper left corner, there's the points distribution on the left and right side, representing color-coded away bowler and home bowler. It's their initials at the top, match total and game total. And in the center in the gray area represents the leads, in addition to which game we are on. We're currently in the second game of 5. Sarah Wright's to the right of the head pin and drops 7, 1 in the 10. She wasn't on the head pin, but she's got a decent leave here. 1 in the 10. Sarah Wright on the 1 in the 10 for a spare. Her longest winning streak is 3 matches in a row with greater than 7 points per match. Sarah Wright plays the 1 a little bit too full. Piece of wood skates by the 10 pin, doesn't take it. Head pin average per match for Sarah Wright is 26.9 per 50. Over 50% head pin percentage generally for Sarah Wright. Her split average per match is 13.1. And that's a 10 box for Sarah Wright. 38 after 4 is where we're currently at. Sarah Wright, when she's away, averages 5.67 points per away match. And at home, she averages 7.40. In Sarah Wright's past 5 matches, she's had 3 strikes, 49 spares, and 60 10s. Just in the past 5 matches. A lot of spares and a lot of 10s. Sarah Wright is up in the superlatives for 10 boxes for a good reason. That's Sarah Wright on the head pin with, wow, a 6 drop and a real awkward split. That's the 4, 8, 9, 10 for Sarah Wright. But the 4, with that piece of wood in between the 4 and the 8, that will go. You can sweep that over. I can see this going. Connect with the 4, take the spare. Sarah Wright's just a little bit too full on that. She capped the wood. You had to take the 4 directly and not cap that wood, and unfortunately Sarah Wright was just off to the right of that. It'll be a 9 box for Sarah Wright. So Sarah Wright, after 5, is at 47 with 2 head pin shots and 1 split. She's currently at 53% for head pins, 8 for 15 with 7 splits. And we are going to say hello to Andy Klempa down on the lanes here on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour in Gloucester, Massachusetts. The lanes of Cape Ann. Scenic location, Gloucester, Massachusetts. If you've never been down here, come down here. Cape Ann Lanes hosted the Amateur Candlepin Bowlers Tour 4-person teams knockout in June of 2024. And Andy Klempa will open with a 6 drop. And he'll take a few more and leave the head pin. Cape Ann Lanes is located in a scenic and quiet neighborhood that's fun to walk through. When I had some downtime during the ACBT tournament, I took a walk through there, and it was a great little, kind of nice little quiet neighborhood. So really scenic, really hilly, really fun. It's not too far from downtown Gloucester and Cape Ann Whale Watch, just a short drive away. So if you're going to be in Gloucester, you might as well check out all the sites and everything like that. You ever seen the movie The Perfect Storm? You know, Needs no introduction. There's automatic scoring with Cubica AMF here at Cape and Lanes, as I mentioned before. That's a spread eagle for Andy Klempa. Knocks down 4. The spread eagle is punch out the center, leaving the left and right wings. There's a couple of versions of the spread eagle. When you take 4 pins out, you can take 2 pins out, you can take 3 pins out. If the 8 or the 9 exist, that means they have talons. So 2, 3, 6, 10 for Andy Klempa. No mark for Andy Klempa. He's shooting for a 10 box with a 6 box guarantee. Takes one more out. 17 after 2 for Andy Klempa. Andy Klempa, 1 strike, 2 spares. Sarah Wright still hunting for marks. Andy Klempa, 67% head pin percentage, 8 for 12. And only 5 splits compared to Sarah Wright's staggering 7. And Klempa to the right of the head pin. Pin still mixing, 1, 5, 3, 7, 10 down on the deck of lane 6. 1-3 pocket is how you hit it. And Klempa, will he take the spare? It's a slow-moving spare for Andy Klempa. We'll get that on replay just a moment here. Watch this. It was slow, and I thought it wasn't going to be a spare, but the mixing wood took everything out. Look at that. Fantastic spare by Andy Klempa. Andy Klempa's now working on a spare here at Cape Ann Lanes in Gloucester, Massachusetts. It's on the head pin. Mixes 7s. 4, 7, 10. And he plays the wood, takes the 4 and the 7, but the 10 don't go. The 10 don't go. Or the 10 doesn't go, if you want to be grammatically correct. For a 9 or 10 box, Andy Klempa is at 34 after 3. His 4th box has been a head pin shot and a split. It'll be a 9, 43, 8 and 4 for Klempa compared to 38 and 4 for Sarah Wright. Andy Klempa, his home house was Academy Lanes last season. This season, his home house is here at Cape Ann Lanes in Gloucester, Massachusetts. He's living in Quincy, Massachusetts. He was from Andover, Massachusetts. He's a certified pharmacy technician at Brigham and Women's Hospital. He studied environmental chemistry at Plymouth State University, class of 2017. He's off to the right of the head pin, drops 5. 1, 2, 4, 7, 10. Andy Klempa enjoys going to a lot of concerts, shows, Disney parks, traveling. He went to Vegas in 2023. All that kinds of stuff. Check out his Facebook if you're friends with him. He's a lively dude. That's the 1 and the 10 for Andy Klempa. He misses the mark. 1 and the 10. And that's a nice 10 box for Andy Klempa. And that will be the half. So Andy Klempa is at 53 after 5, and Sarah Wright's at 47 after 5. I'll show you that 10-box replay real quick because that was a real nice targeted, precise shot. No wood. The way Andy Klempa threw that on the 1 and the 10. He was right on the right side of the head pin, and that was how it went. All right, so Sarah Wright is up next to bowl on lane 5 here on the tour to finish the second half of the second game. Sarah Wright today, 8 for 15 on the head pin. That's another head pin shot right there and a split. 6 drop. Oops. Sorry, I gotta fix that. Sarah Wright takes 2, leaves 2. Right on the 4-7. Looks like it'll be a 9. 56 in 6 for Sarah Wright. So far totaling 141 in the grand total. Andy Klempa at 1.5 games is at 169. Sarah Wright has some ground to make up on. And right to the left of the head pin, or sorry, on the head pin, but just slightly off to the left. 6-drop split, 7-10, 3-6. Recently, Sarah Wright faced Jordan Britton in round 11 at Leda Lanes. That was a home game, and I covered that match on 3-ball spare. She took 4 points with a 5-30 series. Sarah Wright takes the right side, doesn't take the left. No mark. She had a 101, 103, 106, 104, and 116 with 1 strike, 10 spares, and 15 tens. Sarah Wright finished the 2023-2024 season, second place in D North Division 1 last year. Then she got promoted to Class C. That's a 10-box for Sarah Wright, 66-7, I believe. Possibly. Actually, there might be a score correction on that, and I'm waiting to see what the bowler's call is, so stand by for that. 65, apparently it was a fouled 9. 65-7 for Sarah Wright after the correction. Sarah Wright to the left of the head pin. Drops 6, 4 horsemen right side, 1-3-6-10. Last season, Sarah Wright averaged 101.22. She averages 102.65 this season, so steadily improving. She finished 156-96 last season. Great regular season finish for Sarah Wright. She punches the 3, leaves the 1, the 6, and the 10. Last season, Sarah was the number 8th highest seasonal total pins at 9,110. Only one of 8 bowlers in that class who cracked 9,000 pins. Her home lanes are Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, both last season and this season. Same home house as myself. I bowl in Class A, in case you're wondering. That's an 8-box for Sarah Wright. That's the 1 and the 6. She's left on the deck for an 8-box. Still no marks. 73-8 for Sarah Wright. Pausing for score correction real quick. And here's Sarah Wright's stats again, in case you missed it. 71-83. When she's on the road, she's just a little bit under positive, so she's just working on that a little bit. At home, she's 37-33. Sarah Wright's off to the right of the head pin on the 10 pin. Takes down 1. And for the spare, she's to the left of the head pin and takes all but the 1, the 3, and the 7 for Sarah Wright. She's right on the 1-3, but leaves the 7. That's a 9-box for Sarah Wright. 82-9. Again, Sarah is 3rd place in C North Division 3 right now, and the 11th seed in Class C North overall in terms of the wildcard standings. Sarah Wright's on the head pin there. Not much to show for it, though. That's a 7 drop and a split, 7-10-4, but there is wood along the 4 and the 7. Let's see if Sarah Wright can take it. Oh, and she hits it a little bit late. I think I'm starting to get the feel for these lanes. I think you have to throw a little bit harder. Andy Klempa has had a bunch of marks, 1 strike and 3 spares. Sarah Wright's been having a lot of trouble. Generally just trying to get the pins to mix in particular. She's just... I think it has to do with her ball being a little bit slower. It works great at Leda Lanes, but it's not working so well here at Cape Ann Lanes. So Sarah Wright, that's 92, markless in the second game. 2-game total of 177 for Sarah Wright. Currently 11 for 20 on the head pin with 10 splits. And in terms of mark fills, well, there's unfortunately nothing to really say. Sarah Wright hasn't thrown a mark yet. Andy Klempa totaling 32 in the fills, averaging 8 per mark. So we're going to be moving on to the next, to Andy Klempa in just a moment here. Bowler's just taking a quick breather. Here's Andy Klempa while we're waiting in the wings for him. Again, he's 15th seed, so he's also got some work to do himself. 41-99, so he's in a bit of a down season after 10 matches, but we'll see where things go here. He's got two guaranteed points so far today, so we'll see where things go. Andy Klempa to the right of the head pin. That's a half Worcester. Starting out with a half Worcester is always interesting. That's when you punch out the 2 and the 8 or the 3 and the 9. That's the half Worcester. Quarter Worcester is when you punch out just the 2 or the 3. And Klempa almost converts the Worcester for a spare, but can't quite do it. Klempa for an 8, 9, or 10, and he's shooting at the 5 and the 6. He's got to pick a stick. He picks the 5. That's a 9-box for Andy Klempa. That's 62 after 6. So yes, Andy Klempa, he bowled at Academy Lanes last year. He's at Cape Ann Lanes this year. High single 132, high series 557. He has a 31st high class C North average at 97.8, so he's still kind of working some things out in terms of that average in particular. The hard ball he throws really seems to kind of work here at Cape Ann Lanes, but unfortunately, it doesn't happen there. That's the other side half Worcester. Hey, 2 half Worcesters in a row. He punched the 2 in the 8 this time, so 2 half Worcesters in 2 boxes. 2 in a row for Andy Klempa. And he's to the right of the head pin. He's got the 1, the 5, the 4, and the 7 now. Klempa for the 10 box. Pins dance around. That's a great 10 box. Great out for Andy Klempa. See if we can get that queued up too if I hit the button in time. Watch that go. Dances around, gets a sidewall action. The sidewall action is what took that. Andy Klempa. Just pausing real quick. And some incoming traffic. Klempa on lane 5. On the headpin, drop 6. Left side inverted check mark. 3, 4, 5, 7. He'll take 1 and leave the 5, the 2, and the 7. That'll be a 10 box for Andy Klempa all the while. $82 and 8 for Klempa, $73 and 8 for Wright. Klempa, last 2 boxes, opening ball on the head pin. Nearly a strike. 7 pin is left standing. Could be a single pin spare for Andy Klempa. On lane 5, excuse me. And he just misses it narrowly. Andy for the 10. And that will be what some call a Paul Grant special, where you miss the second, get the third. That's a $1 donation to Candlepins per cancer per occurrence. Also check out Candlepins #4cancer.com. Great organization for assisting folks in the bowling community in need of cancer treatments and assistance and all that. Great cause, run by great people, Al Johnson and Paul Grant. Check it out. Klempa is to the right of the headpin, drops 5, 4 horsemen left in the 5. And Klempa's just off. Takes nothing, actually. 1, 2, 4, 7, 5. And he leaves the head pin on the third ball for 101. In 5 for Andy Klempa. He'll take the second game. 4 points for Andy Klempa to Sarah Wright's 92 in the second. 2-game total of 217 for Andy Klempa and a 177 2-game total for Sarah Wright. That is the story of the second game here on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. Moving on to the third game now. Sarah Wright's getting ready to go on lane 6. And hey, if you like this content and want to see more, I invite you to check out, strike, comment, and subscribe to all these different socials all over YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and whatever it is you're fancy. We're probably there. So check it out. We'll talk more about that later. It's going to be Sarah Wright on the right. On lane 6. And that's a strike for Sarah Wright. How about that for a recovery? Her first mark is a strike. I think I got that on replay. Check that out. Right there. On the 1-2 pocket, everything goes. That was the strike by Sarah Wright. For the double, Sarah Wright's off to the right of the head pin, takes the 6 and the 9. Still has one more ball. Sarah Wright will take a 5 on the strike fill. 1, 2, 4, 7, 8. For the 10 box, Sarah Wright will take 8.23 after 2 for Sarah Wright. Sarah Wright goes for the 6 and the 10, but pin's still mixing. Hold on. That's a center check mark. Inverted. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4. Lawrence Welk getting his money's worth today. Right. Oh, she was on the pocket, but leaves the 3. So no mark for Sarah Wright. Sarah Wright will take 9, 32 in 3. One strike and a 5 fill for Sarah Wright. That's her only mark so far. Sarah on the 1-2 pocket. That's a 7 drop and a split. An 8 drop, 5 pin falls late, 7 and 9 for Sarah Wright. She'll play the wood in front of the 9, but the wood just skates right past it. No mark. 8, 9, or 10 box for Sarah Wright. Got to pick a stick. Oh, goodness. That's going to be another 8 box for Sarah Wright. 40 and 4. Sarah Wright, 13 for 24 on the head pin with 11 splits. Andy Klempa is currently 11 for 20 on the head pin with 6 splits. 1 strike for both of our bowlers. Andy Klempa has 3 spares. Sarah Wright has none. And Sarah Wright to the right of the head pin. Half Worcester plus a friend. 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, 6, 10. Sarah Wright's not on target, but leaves the 1 and the 6. Right for the 10 box, that'll be 8. And that will be the half for Sarah Wright. So she got a nice strike at the beginning there. That's 48 after 5 for Sarah Wright. And a 2.5 game total at 225 at the halfway point of the match for Sarah Wright. So Andy Klempa will be next. And he's not in the head pin, but that forceful first ball results in a strike for Andy Klempa. It was a Julian strike. We don't see those often, but look at this. On the 6-10 pocket. A 6-10 pocket Julian strike for Andy Klempa. Oh my god. Fantastic. He totally got the steal on that one. For the double on the head pin this time, it's a 6 drop. Ironically, that was a worse leave than hitting the 6-10 pocket. That's the thing about Candlepin, you can sometimes get crazy strikes by missing the head pin, and it'll be an 8 fill for Andy Klempa. Both marks with a strike on the first ball, our first box, that is. He's on the 5 and the 7. Pausing for a brief score correction down there. So he'll shoot for a 10 box on the 5 and the 7. Playing the 5 pin can take the 7. It's just a very difficult shot. It's called the setback. And that's an 8 for Klempa, 26 after 2. That 48 after 5 from Sarah Wright is confirmed, by the way, in case you were wondering. Hope you're enjoying this match. This is the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, the best place to watch some of the most exciting Candlepin matches. From a wide selection of bowlers from all skill levels, we're having a fantastic time at Cape Ann Lanes in Gloucester, Massachusetts, watching Sarah Wright challenge Andy Klempa in Class C North and the ACST. Stay with us for all the action. Andy Klempa just threw a strike in the first box on the 6-10 pocket. And on the head pin, that's another strike for Andy Klempa. That was a hammer ball, and that was a pocket strike. See, he can do it, folks. Let's take a look at that. Right on it. And there it goes. That's strike for Andy Klempa. 2 strikes this half. 36 in a ball after 3. 36 in a bonus after 3, that is. Strike fill is 2 balls. Klempa on lane 6. 4-7 pocket. Pins are mixing. It's getting one heck of a steal off of that. 1, 2, 6, 10. 6 fill so far on that strike. We'll see what happens here. Can it go? A hard shot. We'll take it. Oh, and he's going to take a 9 fill. The 10 pin doesn't fall. 45 after 3 for Mr. Klempa. 10 pin left, 2 pieces of wood. Mrs. Wright. 54 in 4 for Klempa. Andy Klempa, 13 for 24 on the head pin with 7 splits today. On the head pin there, and luck catches up to him there. That's a 2-pin spread eagle. The 1 and the 5 are taken out. That's a double talon spread eagle, the 1 and the 5. Perfect shot down the center, the CALLATT shot. Free for you and cheap for them. Plays a 3, 6, 7. Ooh, and a bunch of pins fall down. 8, 9, 10 are left on the deck. 7, 8, 9, or 10 box for Andy Klempa now. Home Depot down there in front of the 8, 9, 10. A potential 60-something half. With an 8, it'll be 62. $62 after 5 for Klempa with those 2 strikes. 48 after 5 for Sarah Wright with that 1 strike. 2.5 game total of 279 for Andy Klempa. 2.5 game total of 225 for Sarah Wright. Klempa was 6 points so far, ahead in the game by 14, ahead in the match by 54. That's your score update at the halftime point of this match. Here on the tour, on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. Sarah Wright down there. I'm Steve Kelly back here. Sarah Wright next, to the left of the head pin. Mixes down 6. 1, 3, 6, 7. And she takes everything but the 6. And for the 10 box, that's going to be a 10 box for Sarah Wright. Something shattered behind me. A bunch of plates or something fell. So that's 58 and 6 for Sarah Wright. $58 and 6 for Sarah Wright. She's on the head pin with a split, a 6 drop. That's the 4, 6, 2, 7 for Sarah Wright. So 4, 6, 2, 7 for Sarah Wright. She fires on the object pocket, but a little bit too full. She leaves the 6 on the deck and only the 6 on the deck. For a 10 box, 9 box guarantee. Oh, and she'll just play the wood, and the wood will just kind of nudge the ball away for a 9-box. 67 in 7 for Sarah Wright. Sarah Wright 14 for 27 on the headpin today with 12 splits. The splits are really killing Sarah right now. 14 headpin shots and 12 splits. Splits are only counted based off the headpin being down, and again, 14 headpin shots, 12 splits. It's like unreal. Sarah Wright's on the headpin there, and guess what? It's another split. It's a 7-drop, 7-10-6 this time. Andy Klempa has it figured out. He has 14 headpin shots for 25 with only 8 splits. Little more than half of Sarah's. Sarah Wright will play the right. 2 won't take 1. 7 pin is left on the deck. And, oh my goodness, another deflection of wood. 9-box for Sarah Wright. 76 in 8 for Sarah Wright. Sarah Wright has only totaled 5 in mark fills today, as that strike in this game is the only mark she's found so far. Andy Klempa's totaled 49, racking up a pile of strikes and spares with that different kind of throw that he throws. 6-drop, 1-2-4-7 for Sarah Wright. 6-drop, 4 horsemen left. She'll take the back 2, leave the front 2. 1-2. And she'll take a 10-box. That's 86 in 9 for Sarah right now. If you're just tuning in, this is the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, a season-long series of one-on-one Candlepin bowling matches between challengers, organized into classes and divisions, competing for playoff contention. I'm Steve Kelly, and that's Sarah Wright challenging Andy Klempa. Sarah Wright to the right of the headpin, half Worcester into French. For the mark. And will she get the mix down? Oh, the 7 and the 8 don't play. I thought it could have potentially gone. It was a light shot on the headpin. Sidewall kicks seem favorable here at Cape Ann Lanes. Gloucester, Massachusetts. That'll be a 10-box for Sarah Wright. That'll be the 3rd game of 96 for Sarah Wright. 3-game total of 273. 279, 2.5 game total for Andy Klempa, so time to see what happens next. Andy Klempa down there. And that's a 7-drop for Andy Klempa. Left triangle, 4-5-2. Not a split. Piece of wood standing in the gutter is out of play and down. And Andy Klempa, that's a spare for Andy Klempa. Start his half out. Again, watch this shot. A direct shot and a direct hit. Took it all out. The wood also helped a little bit too. Klempa will drop 5 and fill with 5. He was off target to the left of the headpin. That's the 4 horseman left side. And the 8. Klempa will take the 6 and leave everything else. Andy Klempa's a very tall individual. I have the zoom cam up as high as I can possibly send it. But tall bowlers often defeat the zoom cam. But Andy Klempa will take a pretty 10-box there. For 87 in 7. Take a look at that 10-box once again. Look at the way that goes. He was to the left of the headpin, and that was how it went. And he's off. Andy is off to the left of the headpin. That's the 1, the 5, the 3, the 8, and the 9. For a spare shot, Andy Klempa fires right now. And he was off target to the right, leaves the headpin. No mark. For the 10 box, that's a 10 for Andy Klempa, 97 and 8. Currently at 314. Sarah Wright finished the third game at 273. Right now, it's looking like a bit of a sweep for Andy Klempa. Something he definitely could sorely need right now, as he is currently 41 and 99 on the season. At home, he's 21 and 46. It's off to the right of the head pin that time. I think a point of improvement for Andy Klempa is really just to work on the control of that ball. He throws a very smooth, hard ball, but it just doesn't reach his target a lot of the time. When it connects with the pocket, it's great. He has lots of strike potential, but stuff like that is just what's really holding him back. He's left with the center diamond, 1, 2, 3, 5. Diamonds are hard to break no matter where they are on the deck. And Klempa will leave the 5. Diamond wins again, 75% of it. 9 box, 106 and 9. Klempa's on the head pin with a split. 7 drop, 5, 9, 10. That was on the head pin right there. See, if he can just get more shots like this, and assuming the leaves are good, that's just some advice for you, Andy, if you're watching it later on. And he's on the center, but a little bit too hard, a little bit too full. Soon. And that's a 9 box for Andy Klempa. Andy Klempa finishes with a 1-15 third game. 3-game total of 332 for Andy Klempa. Up in the total by 59, took the third game by 19. Currently all 6 points to Andy Klempa as of right now. Moving on to the next game now. Welcome to Game 4 of 5 here on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. I'm Steve Kelly on the call. It'll be Sarah Wright leading off. Oops. I said Sarah Wright leading off. Sarah Wright to the right of the head pin. It's in the name. Washes out a few. Oops. Sorry. I always have to reset the zoom camera every time the bowlers switch lanes. Only takes a couple of seconds, but if I don't remember to do it, it looks kind of funny on stream. So second ball doesn't take much. Here we go. It's the 4-5-2-10 for Sarah Wright. Oh, and Sarah Wright's on the left triangle and leaves the 10. It's a 9 box for Sarah Wright. 9 after 1 for Ms. Wright. And Sarah Wright is not on the head pin, but drops a few. 1, 2, 4, 5, 9 on the deck. Sarah Wright will take 1 and leave 4. 1, 2, 4, 5 now on the deck. 6 box or greater. And Sarah Wright will mix down an 8. There we go. Sarah Wright's at 17 after 2. Sarah Wright's on the 1-3 pocket. Will be a strike. Nearly. 5 and 8 are wiggling. Look at that. They're just not falling. 5-pin in particular really wanted to go, but didn't seem to. I think it even moved off its spot a little bit. Oh, and Sarah Wright nudges that 5 down, but doesn't take the 8. Falls in front of the 8. For the 10 box on the 8 pin. It'll be a nice 10 box for Sarah Wright. 27 after 3 for Sarah Wright. Even 300 for her match total right now. 16 for 33 on the head pin with 13 splits. Just, ugh. The split ratio for Sarah Wright is just heartbreaking today. Andy Klempa, 16 for 30 with 9 splits. Sarah Wright to the right of the head pin drops 7. Yes, 7. 1, 2, 4. And Sarah Wright, that's a spare for Sarah Wright. Awesome shot, awesome controlled shot running down the 1, the 2, and the 4. Let's take a look at that again. 1, 2, 4. Sarah Wright on the replay. Nice nudge down to the right of the head pin. It was just light enough to not go too full, but it was also not light enough just to kick too early. Sarah Wright with a spare. First spare of the match, actually. 37 in a bonus after 4. Wright fires on the 1, 2 pocket. Bucket of 5. Or the hay bale. It has a couple of names. Some bowlers might call it frustrating instead. 5, 6, 3, 9, 10. And Wright, oh my god, she plays the wood and just the pins just seem to be dead if you hit them light. It's the 5, 9, 10 for Sarah Wright, no mark. And that's a nice 10 box for Sarah Wright, though. 52 after 5 for Sarah Wright. That's the half. 52 after 5, 2 10s and a spare. And again, let's look at that 10 box because it wasn't a mark, but still a nice shot regardless. Look at this. To the right of the 5, she kicked over to take the 9 and the 10. That's the story for Sarah Wright after 5. Klempa next. Andy Klempa. Left the head pin, drops 6. 1, 3, 6, 7. And Klempa's a little hard on the 1, 3 and leaves the 6 and the 7 on the deck. This will be for a 10 box for Andy Klempa on the 6 and the 7. And he'll split the difference for a 9. Andy Klempa, 3 strikes, 4 spares. Sarah Wright, 1 strike, 1 spare. The difference comes down to the release, it seems. Sarah Wright, it seems if you throw a lighter ball at Cape Ann Lanes, it's going to punish you for it. Andy Klempa's harder ball, assuming it's on target, has been netting a lot of pin action. Just like that. He wasn't on target for the head pin, but he got a nice mix and a spinning piece of wood. Center diamond and the 6, that's a 5 drop. Klempa's a little off target, no mark. 1, 3, 6. That's a 10 for Andy Klempa after 2, 19. Compare that to Sarah Wright's 17 after 2. Hope you're enjoying this match. We're broadcasting from Cape Ann Lanes in Gloucester, Massachusetts today. And that's a strike by Andy Klempa once again. A hammer ball and the 6-pin falls last. Let's even get a replay of that. Right on it. The 6-pin was the last one to go off the sidewall. 29 in a bonus after 3 for Andy Klempa. One 3 pocket for the double. Drops 6. Left side accordion. 7, 8, 4, 5. 6 so far on the fill. It's going to be a difficult one. And that 6 fill it's going to be as he was in the gutter and fouled. While we have a moment, so again, check out the Candlepin Multiverse, Candlepin Bowling Network on YouTube, Candlepin Corner on YouTube, 3 Ball Spare on YouTube, that's my channel. The Atlanta Candlepin Single Store page on Facebook, and at Candlepin Bowling on TikTok. And Andy Klempa, I believe that will be an 8-box for 43 after 4, and that is confirmed. We also have some other channels to check out, and other places like Candlepin Chat on Facebook for a bunch of discussion and other fun stuff like that. AlleyChat.net and AlleyChat on YouTube for Friday Night Pro League recaps. There's also classic Candlepin Bowling TV show YouTube channels, such as the Candlepin Bowling channel and Wolfman12395. That's a 6-drop for Andy Klempa, 1247, 4 horsemen left side. One, 2, 4, 7. Klempa for the spare. He's on the 4-7, not on the 1-2 pocket. No mark. 8-box guarantee for Andy Klempa. And he'll leave. Well, nope. The 2 will be glued to the ground. That'll be a 9-box for Andy Klempa. That's 52 after 5 at the half. And that will be the half. 52-52 all in this 4th game of 5. Current total is 325 for Sarah Wright, 384. Andy Klempa up by 59 in the match total. We have Sarah Wright on the left. Sarah Wright's not in the head pin, but drops 7. Smooth ball, smooth spare for Sarah Wright. Runs them down. Very similar to her previous spare. Take a look at this on the 1-2-4. I didn't even hear the ball connect with the floor. It was that smooth. Sarah Wright's on the... Oh, just off the left of the pocket. Drops 6, though. Fills with 6. That's 68 and 6 for Sarah Wright. 1, 3, 6, 8. So take the 3-6, leave the 1. The 3-6-8, leave the 1. That will be a 10 for Sarah for 78 in 7. 2 spares for Sarah Wright today, 3 10s. 1 strike, 2 spares, compared to Andy Klempa's 4 strikes and 4 spares. Sarah Wright drops a few, not on the head pin. 1, 5, 3, 8, 9. Sarah Wright's on the 1-3 pocket, but a little bit too light. Leaves the 5, the 8, and the 9 on the deck. No mark. 3rd ball. For the 10 box, it's going to be 8 for Sarah Wright. 86 and 8. Again, in case you didn't know, we're at Cape Ann Lanes in Gloucester, Massachusetts. There's actually 16 lanes, not 20. That was my mistake in the editing room. They hosted the Amateur Candlepin Bowlers Tour 4-person teams knockout tournament summer 2024. Check them out at capeandlanes.com. They're in Gloucester, Massachusetts off of Route 128. Grant Traffic Circle. Pretty big arcade here, actually. If you're an arcade buff, there's going to be a lot here for you. Like real arcade stuff, like classic 80s and 90s pinball and all that stuff. That's a split for Sarah Wright on the 5-10. And Sarah Wright's on the 5, but a little bit too full on the 5. Pushes it right backwards. She leaves the 10 on the deck for a 10 box. Oh, and the wood deflects. That's a 9 box for Sarah Wright, 95 and 9. Sarah Wright's on the 1-2 pocket. Pins are still mixing. 7 drop. 3, 9, 10. See if Sarah can get her third mark of the game. Just a little bit off. Takes the back row, leaves the front 3 pin. So potential 105 game or 104. It'll be 105 for Sarah Wright. So 105 for Sarah Wright. That results in a 4-game total of 378 for Sarah Wright. 1 strike, 2 spares. 48% head pin completion percentage with 15 splits. Compared to 15 splits for the 19 head pin shots. Just Sarah Wright just having a lot of trouble with the head pin shots in particular. Andy Klempa having much better luck. 18 head pin shots and 9 splits. So here comes Andy Klempa. Andy Klempa will punch the 6. And that is known as a lemon drop, where you punch the 4 or the 6 on the first ball. $1 donation to Candlepins per cancer per occurrence. Just a lemon drop. Andy Klempa's second ball, much like the first, tails off to the right way too much. And that'll be a 7 for Klempa, 59 and 6. Lane 5, Gloucester, Massachusetts, Cape Ann Lanes. That's Andy Klempa to the right of the headpin once again. It's a center diamond in the back left Candlepin corner. 3 down, 7 up. And he blows him away. That's a spare for Andy Klempa. Try to get a replay, but I think his head got in the way, but we'll try it anyway. We were able to glean enough to see that he was on the 1-2 pocket. Again, he's very tall, similar to Bill Olson and myself. We just defeat zoom cams everywhere. Oh, and that's going to be a 2.5 Worcester for Andy Klempa. Punch the 3 and the 9. Second ball tails off to the right as well. Takes the 6 and the 10. 4 so far. He's left with the left side 6-pack. Check his ID. 6 pins left on the deck. This particular time is on the left side. And that will be a 4 box for Andy Klempa, 75 and 8. 2 boxes to go before we move on to the 5th and final game here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. Klempa's off the left of the head pin. It's the 1, the 5, the 6, the 9, and the 10 on the deck. That's a spare for Klempa. He'll run them all down. Watch this. Awesome job by Andy Klempa right there on that spare. Ooh, and that's going to be a 3-fill left side Candlepin corner for Andy Klempa, 88 and 9. $18 for 40 on the head pin today. He punches a little bit hard on the center, leaves the 2 and the 5. 9 splits today for Andy Klempa. That'll be an 8 for 96, so Sarah Wright will walk away with points today. 2 points for Sarah, 6 points for Andy Klempa. 96 game 4 for Andy Klempa, 4 game total of 428, 4 game total of 378 for Sarah Wright. Difference of 50 in the total. Sarah Wright takes the 4th game by 9. Time for the 5th and final game. It's a very important game because it can be worth a lot of points if you can reclaim the total pinfall. Whether the match is close or far away, the rules are the same. That's Sarah right down there on lane 6. Ooh, and a spread eagle for Sarah Wright, a 4 drop. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. And she'll take 2 and leave 4. 6 down, 4 up. That is 7 after 1 for Sarah Wright. As Sarah Wright to right, the headpin drops 6. 1, 2, 4, 9. And Sarah Wright will almost take a spare, but the 9 is left uncontested down there. $10 for Sarah Wright, cleaning up, 17 after 2. Sarah Wright is 20 for 42 on the headpin today with 16 splits. That's a lot of splits. Cape Ann Lanes has not been kind to Sarah Wright today in terms of the pin mixing. Has to do with throwing light, I think. That seems to be a quality, a property of Cape Ann Lanes today. Throwing light is not being forgiving. Sarah Wright leaves the 4 horsemen left and the 9. Piece of wood rolling towards the headpin. It has now settled. Sarah Wright, 4 horsemen left in the 9. And the 4 and the 7 are untouched. Piece of wood rolling towards the 4. Won't be enough to knock it down. And Sarah Wright will take 10. Puts her at 27 after 3. Sarah Wright's on the headpin, drops 7 and splits 7. 4, 6, 7. It's just off to the left. That'll be a $7 for Sarah Wright. That's 34 after 4. You're watching the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. I'm Steve Kelly on the call for 3-Ball Spare Conglomerate and the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. And Sarah Wright's off to the right of the head pin. Drops 6. And that's the 4 horsemen left side. Once again, 1, 2, 4, 7. No wood to help Sarah Wright on this mark attempt. Just slightly off the head pin, she drops 3 of the 4. So just going to look at a potential 44 half here, or 43, depending on this 9 or 10 box. It'll be a 10 for a 44 half for Sarah Wright. Oops. Sorry about that. 44 half for Sarah Wright. 4.5 game total of 422 for Sarah Wright with that 44 half. Andy Klempa currently 428 game total after 4 games. We'll see what happens next here on the Atlantic Campbell Singles Tour. Gloucester, Massachusetts. Klempa's off to the right of the head pin once again. And on that head pin, he takes all but the 5. The kingpin often is the pin that doesn't cooperate on shots like those, and it certainly applies here. Andy Klempa on the 5. Oh, and he'll get the steal for the 10. He collides with the wood. Comes back to pick it up. 10 box for Andy Klempa after 1. Andy Klempa has been victorious in all games but the 4th one so far. So 6 points in Andy Klempa's favor so far, and he had at least 50 points, pins banked up in the grand total before this game started. That's the 1, 2, 7, 8 for Andy Klempa. And the 1, 2 pocket's going to be the operative pocket to shoot at. And he misses the spare attempt. This will be the retry. It could be a potential PGS situation. We'll see what happens here. And he'll punch 2 and leave 2 for 18 after 2 for Andy Klempa. Up by 1 to Sarah Wright, 17 after 2. Andy Klempa, in case you missed it, he has a season record of 41-99 after 10 matches. At home, he's 21-46. So, taking a W today will be quite beneficial for Andy Klempa, assuming he stays the course. That's a 6 drop, 2, 4, 6, 7. It's going to be a doozy of a spare attempt, but it will be pretty when it goes. The 2-4 pocket is what you got to shoot at. Sidewall action, maybe. But Andy Klempa is just a little bit off target. Collides with the 4 and the 7, leaves the 2 and the 6. Klempa will take 8 after 3, 26. Compare that to Sarah Wright's 27 after 3, holding on to the game by 1 so far. Here comes Klempa. Splash on the head pin. Drops 6. Oh, you did? I had a 10, but we're just gonna pausing quickly for a score verification because yep, that's what I had. We do 3-way verification here. My score, of course, is unofficial as always, but the automatic score gave Andy a 10 in the first, and I had a 10, and Andy said it was a 10, and I said it was a 10, so we had enough verification there. Just to make sure. And that's a spare for Andy Klempa. Forget what I'm talking about. Let's look at that spare. I'm going to replay that. Look at that. 4, 7, 9, 10. Plays the wood on the cap, and it all goes. That's a fantastic spare by Andy Klempa. So he's working on a spare now to conclude the first half of the final game. Right at the head pin. Ooh, another. You see that ball of Andy Klempa's. When it's not on target, it's a little bit ugly. It's going to be a half Worcester. Punch the 2-8 or the 3 and the 9. This is the 3-9 half Worcester. Klempa on the Worcester attempt on the retry. He leaves the 1 and the 5 for a 10 box. Oh, and a nice 10. So at the half, 48 after 5 for Andy Klempa versus 44 after 5 for Sarah Wright. Andy Klempa leads the game by 4 and holds on to the total by 54. So Sarah Wright's really going to have a miraculous second half here to go for the total. Sarah Wright punches the 3-9 for a half Worcester. And for the spare on the Worcester, leaves the 5 and the 7. It was a great attempt. Sarah Wright 21 for 46 on the head pin with 17 splits today. And she'll take an 8, 52 and 6. As we start to wind down here, I want to say a couple special thanks to our league commissioner, Danny Finn of the ACST, Class C treasurer, Anthony Karen, our statistician, Micah Imperato, Steve Abodeely for some of the B-roll and photography. Check him out at stabodeely.com, STABODEELY.com, as well as viewers like you. Always appreciate you watching, truly. Always thank you for sticking out with us. That's a 6-pack for Sarah Wright. Check her ID. And for the 6-pack for the spare, she leaves 3 on the deck. Decides not to take all six beers in one sitting. 784 for Sarah Wright for a 10 box. Oh, and she'll just take all but the 8 for a 9 box. 61 and 7 for Sarah Wright. Sarah Wright 1 strike, 2 spares. Andy Klempa 4 strikes, 7 spares. Both bowlers dipping below 50% on the head pins today. Sarah Wright to the left of the head pin. That's a left side Candlepin corner. And I hope this was a pleasant viewing experience for you. If you enjoyed what you saw and want to see more, again, check out the socials all over YouTube and Facebook. Atlantic Candlepin Singles Store page is a great place to start. Then Candlepin Chat on Facebook, maybe a 3-ball spare on YouTube, Candlepin Bowling Network on YouTube, Candlepin Corner on YouTube. And Sarah Wright will take an 8 box for 69 and 8. You can also check out @Candlepin Bowling on TikTok. There's Outrun the Bear on Facebook and Instagram if you want to check out the awesome stuff going down in Millis, Massachusetts at Ryan Family Amusements. And to the left of the head pin, Sarah Wright drops 6, right side, 4 Horsemen, I believe. One, 3, 6, 10. She'll take the 3, leaving the 1, the 6, and the 10. 69 in 8 for Sarah Wright so far. With this box, it'll be a 7 for 76 in 9. Sarah Wright is on the head pin, drops 6. Left side diamond. She'll finish today with 22 for 50 on the head pin with 17 splits. Left side diamond, Sarah Wright. On the 5, on the 8, leaves the 2, leaves the 4. That'll be a 10 box for Sarah Wright, and that will be an 86 fifth game. And that will be a 5-game total of 464 for Sarah Wright. 22 for 50 on the head pin, 17 splits. 44% head pin percentage. Only totaling 16 in mark fills today, averaging 5.3 per mark, 1 strike, 2 spares. 86 fifth game, 5-game total of 464. Andy Klempa already still has the total, so he will be taking those additional 10 points. It looks like it's possibly going to be 2 points for Sarah Wright and 12 points for Andy Klempa. We'll see how that ends up. It's going to be Andy Klempa down there. To the left of the head pin. Drops 6. 4 horsemen left side. 1, 3, 6, 10. Oh, and he nearly runs them all down, leaves the 6. Dances around. Taking the 10, but not the 6. Andy Klempa on the 6 for a 10 box. He'll take that for a 10. 58. After 6 for Andy Klempa with that second 10 box in a row. Oh, and folks, also check out Candlepins for Cancer. Candlepins number4cancer.com, run by Al Johnson and Paul Grant, as you can see in the picture there, to sign up for qualifying roll-offs or to donate. Latest roll-offs are at Riverwalk Lanes in Amesbury, Massachusetts. And they are actively in progress, so check it out. There's sign-up forms on the website. That's a 9-drop and a 6-pin, single-pin spare opportunity for Andy Klempa right now. He'll just miss off to the right, unfortunately. So this will be a retry for a 10 box, potential PGS. We'll see what happens. Maybe third 10 box in a row. Oh, and he won't. He'll miss off to the left this time. Overcorrect a little bit. 9 box, 67 and 7 for Andy Klempa now. Also invite you to check out candlepin.org and click Go Bowling to find your nearest center in northeastern United States. Here's the map. Not all centers are shown on the map. There's even a center in Albany, New York, which I manually added later on. But check out candlepin.org and click Go Bowling if you want to start your bowling journey. That's a 4-drop for Andy Klempa, 4 horsemen left side, and the 4 and then 8 on the deck. Andy Klempa will punch hard down the center, leaving 3 pins on the deck, the 4, the 6, and the 10. Four, 6, 10 for Andy Klempa for a 10 box. And he'll take a 9 for 76 and 8. Andy Klempa still has the total. He's at 504. Right now with 2 boxes to go. Sarah Wright finished with a 464. Andy Klempa needs 10 to take the 5th game. He's off to the right of the headpin. Drops a few. That's the 4 down, 6 up, center diamond, and then the 8 and the 10 left on the deck. Klempa for the spare. He's just off target. Six box guarantee, 10 box maximum. He'll split the difference for a 7 for 83 and 9. Andy Klempa currently at 511. Sarah Wright finished at 464. It will be a 12-2 split today. Andy Klempa to Sarah Wright, respectively. Andy Klempa on the dropping 9. Left the 8 on the deck with Home Depot in front of it for a spare. Potential bonus ball. Here we go. He sends it. Oh, and he misses. Capped the wood the wrong way. So it won't be a mark for Andy Klempa. It'll be a potential 93 or 92 game based on this 9 or 10 box. Final ball of the match. It'll be a 10. That's a Paul Grant special. Missed the second, get the third, but that will be a 93 5th game for Andy Klempa and a 5-game total of 521 to Sarah Wright's 464. That will be the 5th game. And here are the final stats. So Sarah Wright will take 2 points today. Andy Klempa, 12. 521 for Andy Klempa, 464 for Sarah Wright. Sarah Wright took the 4th game. Andy Klempa took everything else. 44% head pin percentage for both of our bowlers at the end of the match. 22 for 50 for both. Sarah Wright with 17 splits, Andy Klempa 11. And that should just about do it. Sarah Wright will go to 73.95. Andy Klempa goes to 53 and 101. That should just about do us for us. I'm Steve Kelly for Andy Klempa and Sarah Wright. Also ask if you want to check out 3-Ball Spare, my channel on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Go check it out for all kinds of fun stuff. But anyways, again, check out candlepin.org and click Go Bowling to find your nearest center, as well as candlepinsforcancer.com to sign up for qualifying roll-offs or to donate. Anyways, I've been Steve Kelly, and for Sarah Wright and Andy Klempa, it's been great broadcasting this to you. Have a great one, everybody.